Welcome to episode 4 of Content House. This week, we were supposed to have Vikram on the show, but unfortunately, both Toby and I have tested positive for COVID-19. Toby's actually all better now. I'm still testing positive, but getting there. But either way, it wasn't possible for anyone to join us on the show. So for this special episode, it's just me and Toby. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to episode 4 of Content House. I am Falcone, and this is Toby. Thank you for making the trip up the stairs.
No worries. You know what? It's been a hard week. The COVID house has been real, and just getting up these stairs is breathless. I'm probably never leaving now. I'm honestly probably just good to be here for forever.
You sure?
Yeah.
Do you have to be?
Would you not want me up here? I can go if you want me gone. I can go, but I'll go now. You can do the podcast solo.
Anyway, yeah. Vikram was meant to be here, obviously, and I would send his apologies, but it's not his fault that he's not here. It's ours for going to a wedding.
Yes.
And getting COVID.
A wedding of which we were not on the original guest list for, and only got invited because other people dropped out. And then it was sort of like, well, why not? Well, that sounds like a fun thing to do, go to a wedding. And it cost us the whole week.
It was like a trap.
It was.
It was like a trap. It was like, come to this wedding. You won't get coronavirus. Wink.
We got coronavirus.
The funniest thing about it is that people were worried that we were going to spread the virus.
Yeah.
Because we had been last week on Wednesday, we'd been out at a place where someone had then tested positive.
Mm.
And I thought it was the right thing to then go to message the guy that was getting married and be like, hey, just so you know,
we've been somewhere
where there's been we'll take tests, but if you'd rather we didn't come, let me know. And he was like, no, it's fine. As long as you test positive in the morning, that's okay.
Negative.
But then, negative.
That's
the one.
important, that.
And then the when we were at the wedding, there were people there that were like, "Oh, you had a COVID scare, didn't you?" And one person was also like, "Oh, you shouldn't have been doing anything to put yourselves at risk." Which there's layered arguments.
Well, we didn't know we were going to the wedding really until like 2 days before, anyway.
Well, I guess we knew we were going to a reception though, but yeah, either way. It's obviously no one's fault. It's not the fault of the person whose wedding it was. He was very Stefan was very apologetic. There's no point in Stefan was very apologetic to me. He said, he knows it's not his fault, but he feels guilty. It's like
so
it happens.
We agreed to go to a wedding. If there's people at a wedding who have COVID, they're going to give it to us, and it's fine. The wildest thing is we've always said that there's a backup guest that we can have, which is Phoebe. Phoebe's always available. Amazingly, this whole last week, we're all living in the same house, the same environment. Every time Phoebe's tested negative, she's just not got it. So, I mean, we this was after I had already, I guess, got it. And we had kind of spent the night in the same bed as per usual. And then after that, I tested positive, and I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll go sleep on the sofa downstairs. But, she's been using not the same kitchen cutlery and stuff, but we have one kitchen that we all share, and we've been trying to be smart about it. She's amazingly just not caught it. And so we don't want to have her on the podcast because that's just an additional amount of time that she's in an enclosed room with us.
It's weird when that happens. I mean, think back to about 2 months ago where I was ill.
Mm.
I've been ill all this year, I swear. I was ill and I thought it was COVID. I tested negative. My dad tested positive. My grandma, who also lived with me and my family. This is before I moved in here, so I still live with family. My grandma tested positive. But my mum, who lived with all of us, tested negative, and she never got ill. And I was obviously ill with something different. So I don't know what was going on there. But that's kind of similar to this, right? Where Phoebe, she'll get it in a month, and
we'll be like, "What's going on?" I mean, I've been fortunate in that I tested negative yesterday night. And so, fingers crossed, tonight it's negative again, and that's me out of it. And I'm definitely I feel a lot better. Still getting kind of tired, but it's been an interesting week. How have you kind of spent your week of illness? Just
in bed. I wish I could say otherwise. I want to get into this a little bit later, but I saw your Instagram story where you were talking about how you didn't do any work because you were ill, and it was actually kind of.
I see being ill as an opportunity.
Right.
Well, we'll talk about it in a bit.
Get back into that. I would have liked to have had an opportunity to do stuff this week.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I've been doing whatever it takes to stream this week. Like I've been literally spending all day in bed and then crawling out of bed, rolling into my chair just to do the few hours of stream. Because I figure I stream so few hours in the week. Like I can't just not.
Yeah.
So like, it's such a small time commitment. So I've just been prioritizing that. And I wish I could say, I've been able to make this video or do this and do that. But I've just had no energy. I've been, even now I'm good. Like a small part of me is like, I need to be in bed. I'm just exhausted constantly. I've also lost my sense of smell and taste. Not like entirely, but like it's my sense of smell. I wouldn't say is gone, but it's weird. Everything just smells weird. Everything kind of smells rubbery. I think that's the best way I can describe it. Everything sort of smells.
That's the thing I was most worried about was taste and smell. And there was yesterday morning I was eating something that just tasted wrong, and but it didn't. It still tasted. It just tasted wrong.
Yeah, and then food has just tasted a bit bland, but like not like off or anything. Just not quite right. But the smell thing is weird. Like I've been walking into my bedroom for the last 3 or 4 days. Like it smells weird in here, and I was trying to work out what it was. And I was even at one point like going around sniffing things. Like, is it this that smells weird? Is it?
It's just shower more, mate.
Yeah,
it's just it. You just need to wash your clothes and shower more.
But then the part where I realized no, there's genuinely something wrong with my sense of smell is I drove to my parents' place last night, which before I get shouted at, they've all got it or had it. Like, that's another COVID house. Yeah. So I essentially went from here, a COVID house, to there, which is another COVID house, where my mum's got it and she's just roaming free because everyone else in that house has had it within the last month. Also, it's not actually against the law to do anything like this now, which is,
I'd say that we've been quite safe over the last week anyway. Like, in terms of no one has left the house. Apart from Phoebe, who is tested negative multiple times and doesn't feel ill at all. Yeah. And she's only gone out, still with a mask, only when necessary to bring food back to the house. Yeah. And other than that, this house has been on lockdown.
But when I was in my car, everything smelled weird. And then and it's like, so it continued. Like the car, which I hadn't been in all week.
So that's how you know it's you.
So that's how I know there's something wrong with my nose or my sense. So I hope that doesn't last long.
Fingers crossed.
But yeah, no, I've just not had the energy to do anything. I did edit together the Among Us video where you played for me.
You did. That was good fun.
Well, I say I edited it together. The wonderful Bait Among Us Academy. He sort of did most of the legwork for me, to be honest. He took all the different perspectives, put it together in a video, and the video was 16 minutes long when I got it. And I watched it and I was like, that's too long. And I chopped it down until it was like 5 minutes long, added some zooms, added some music, that kind of thing.
I really enjoyed that. Like watching it back and just kind of the story that you managed to weave. Sometimes definitely less is more. And I think with those kinds of things where you want to tell everyone's perspective inside of the story.
Well, I mean, that's what Among Us Academy was trying to do initially. He was trying to, I guess he took the video and he thought, right, I want to try and obviously have the Toby playing for Dan thing, but also have the whole story of what happened in the game. And I watched it back and I was kind of like, it's just too long and it's a bit boring. Like, I don't think really I don't think it works as a video, but telling the story of you playing as me and them not realizing it, that core concept does work as a video.
I think that's what editing Among Us games together, where it really works, is because you've got 10 players. I don't know, you have 10 players, and each of them is going to say something interesting throughout a round before a meeting. And so you just take that one interesting moment from each thing, stitch it together, but then also prioritize one story at the core of it. Me playing as you in this instance. Yeah. Make that 80% of it. So there's like, that's the main story, and then we get to know our little side characters. And that stuff can happen so naturally in Among Us just because of the nature of having 10 people playing at once. Yeah. And all I think you've got to do is just pick that, what's the one core narrative at the center. Yeah. And focus on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's hard. I mean, it's really difficult because, and it almost does feel like a 2-person job because for me, I was messaging Bait about Among Us Academy about this literally today. He messaged me and he said, read the messages. Bro, your version, because I messaged him before being like, hey, thanks so much for putting this together. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to recut it myself and then probably upload a different version. But your hard work's extremely helpful. And he replied today saying, bro, your version looks amazing. Clearly you're an actual editor and not an imposter like me. Oh. I'm very formulaic in how I edit with basic cuts and syncing audios, which gets the point across. But I absolutely love the music transitions. I need to learn how to do that sometime. It's just that my skills are enough at the moment, so there's no push to improve until I see what you've done. That's firstly a really sweet message, and sweet. Secondly, it had me thinking like it's crazy because the part that he said that he does do, the part where putting the perspectives together, syncing the audio, that's the stuff I can't stand. To me, that's like really boring, dull, busy work.
Yeah.
The part that I did on that video, the chopping it down so it's really small, and the adding the zooms and adding sound effects and adding music, to me, that's the creative side, and that's the fun part. Whereas trolling through Twitch streams and getting the footage and doing the sort of logistical part of actually getting the clips and putting them together, I hate that.
Do you know, that's something that because I work with editors and have done since 2018, and that's something that like I had to get over quite quickly, and that I try and encourage my YouTube friends to get over, is this feeling of like, when it comes to editing, people, I'll lose the video, will lose my identity.
Yeah.
That element of it, the just cutting together, syncing audio, getting out the bits where you're coughing anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it.
It's just busy work. I mean, you take a little bit of learning to know.
Oh, absolutely. To do it. Anyone who knows the software can do that stuff. Let someone else do that and watch them as they put in their own creative flair as well. Be amazed by that, be inspired by that. But then if there's something that you're like, there should be a zoom in there, or there should be like this funny joke or gag or moment, you can ask the editor to do that. And then they get to know what you like, and you can have that kind of creative process. Is sort of, the creative bit is almost the second wave of the edit, But that monotonous bit, I hate it.
When we were at uni, we learned about, I think it was offline and online editing.
Yeah.
And I can't remember why it was called offline and online editing, but the offline edit was the original cut and the sort of stitching it together.
Yeah.
And because they were two different jobs, right? Offline editors and online editors. Then the online edit would be special effects, color grading, that part. And I always found that part more interesting.
My assumption about the name, and I could be talking completely out my bum here, is that offline is something you can do literally offline with the footage, and then online don't these other departments use proxy files? And then
I
think some kind of server or cloud-based editing.
Yeah, I think it is something like that. Because I guess stitching together the original video, maybe if you're, and I'm not talking about a YouTube video here. I'm talking about like a documentary. If it's like you've got like 20 hours of footage.
Yeah,
that's going to be a lot of gigabytes or terabytes, maybe even of footage that you need to edit, which is obviously why you have to do it offline. And then with the final cut. Never been editing with the final cut, you can then take that and upload it to servers because the file size is smaller, and then I guess add the special effects to that. But
we don't really. I mean, certainly at the level that I work at on YouTube, we don't really work with proxy files so much. It is literally a case of I film and record my audio, shoot it up to Google Drive, send the link to the editor. Editor downloads those files as they are, and then they'll just cut away and do their thing. And
that's funny. Because I use proxy files for everything I edit.
Really?
Yeah. Because I have this obsession with working with 4K and bigger files. And if you make a proxy file out of it, it takes maybe an hour. If I like film a full video, and I've also got gameplay that's also 4K, I can then leave my PC, make it the proxy files, go away for an hour, come back, and the editing software is so much faster.
Oh yeah?
It's so noticeable. It'll go from like, if I'm actually editing 4K footage, I'll hit the space bar to pause, and it'll like have like a second and a half, and then it'll pause. Whereas like if I'm playing with proxy files, it's instant.
I'm going to ask my editors that work with how they do it, because maybe, for all I know, maybe they're doing it that way.
Oh, maybe
they could well be the case. But
it's amazing to me how many resources editing softwares take, because my PC is pretty beastly.
Yeah,
I can it's like a year and a half old now, sure, but it's got a 3090 in it. It's got whatever the top processor was at that time, or one of, not the top, because we're talking like Threadripper, like thousands and thousands, but like the top consumer one. And like still editing using Adobe After Effects, like
Yeah.
it really slows everything down. It's
Do you know
crazy.
something that's always amazed me is we've talked about this before. You'll render stuff out of After Effects or Premiere, and it can sometimes take you 40 minutes, an hour, whatever. I don't know what it is that I'm not doing on my end, and I don't render out a lot anymore. But personally, but I'm just like, I don't ever have that experience. Like the other day I had an After Effects project it's about 20 seconds long and it took 20 minutes to render out. And to me that felt exceptionally long. And I was like, something needs to change about this. I'm confused. Why is it taking so long? And my editor had to explain to me, no, that's pretty typical. I guess I've just been getting lucky the last 5 years. I don't know.
Yeah, really odd. I guess so. I guess you're just not doing anything that's that demanding. I noticed that as soon as I press the 3D button on After Effects, which I'm not doing any like complicated 3D stuff. I just like, if I just want the perspective of text to maybe rotate in a way that isn't that, you know, I want it to sort of rotate using the Z axes, and just doing that, like dramatically increases the amount of time it takes to render out a video in After Effects.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hate updating these softwares as well.
Is it automatic?
After Effects just asked me about an update about a week ago. It didn't do it automatically.
Oh.
And I clicked it, and my exporting process changed slightly. Just the buttons have moved around, and then this happened to be the export that took 20 minutes. And so I'm very like anti-update, and I spoke to my editors, and they're like, yeah, we hate it when Adobe updates stuff because then we've got to relearn it and it just gets in the way of the workflow. But realistically, you're probably better off updating and learning it. It's just, that's not always great when it happens in the middle of a work week.
How many shortcuts do you use? Obviously, you don't do the majority of your editing, but I know that you do.
Yeah, no, I mean, not a lot. Like, cutting basically.
Really?
I don't use a lot of shortcuts. No.
Huh. Oh, interesting. Because I feel like I'm using them constantly.
Really?
I took it very seriously when at uni we were always told the best type of editors don't use the mouse.
Yeah.
And I always took that very seriously, and I try when I'm editing to do it all on keyboard.
No, I definitely am using my mouse.
Sometimes it's helpful and works really well. One of the best. I remember getting really confused at uni about something.
Okay.
This is a stupid story. And sorry to anyone that's never done any video editing is not going to find this interesting.
This is like a very niche video editing podcast right now.
At the moment. Right, okay. So, do you know what W and Q do when you're editing? I'm guessing not, because you don't know, like, when you're playing a video game, you don't know what controls do.
This is what's happening to my brain. If I was sitting in front of the keyboard with the app open, I would know. But right now, no, I don't think I could tell you what W and Q do.
Okay, well, you type Q and it types the letter Q, and you type W and it types...
Ha.
Yeah, no. Okay, so Q is delete everything in the current clip before where your cursor is.
Okay.
And, like, it also ripple deletes it. So, like...
Okay.
If you're, like... It's trying to describe this in words is difficult.
Yeah.
If you had filming a video and you added a cut, and then there was a few seconds before you started talking again, you would go to just before you start talking again and you'd hit Q, and it would delete all the silent bit and it would move everything forward. So
that sounds really useful. Okay.
Yeah, it's just one button press. And W does the same thing, but deleting the end of the clip, not the beginning. Now, I learned that at uni, and I had not an argument with the lecturer, but I was just really confused because his wording to describe what Q and W did was it deletes everything before where the cursor is, or deletes everything after where the cursor is. He never really made it clear that he meant everything in the current clip before and after. So I was like, but why would you want to delete everything before where the cursor is? And he was just like, oh, I mean, you make mistakes when you're filming, right? Yeah, just delete it. And I'm just like, but why would you want to delete everything? Because I thought
you're thinking like 30 layers of like content just being deleted. Yeah.
Just delete literally everything. It's like at this moment, this is the start of the entire video, and everything else is gone.
Oh,
I was so confused for the longest time. But no, I use that all the time. Literally,
that sounds super useful.
Constantly, I use Q and W. Well, Q more than W, but yeah, both.
We definitely there are definitely things that we got from uni, and that I feel that we benefited from from like learning that stuff. And like I was in camera setup earlier, and I feel very comfortable setting up cameras now, especially if it's a camera I've used. I feel like
I don't. I hate that part.
I don't mind it at all.
Hated that part.
I think it's really straightforward, and lighting as well. I find really straightforward.
The other part I hated. At uni, I enjoyed the video editing part and hated everything else.
Do you know what's wild to me now? I'm getting to a point with Photoshop where so the meta for me for thumbnails that I've learned is big expressional faces. I'm now like going into. I just did a thumbnail for Zelda the Wind Waker and I wanted Link from that game in it, and so I went into Zelda the Wind Waker. I'm like manipulating the time of day to get the sun at the right place in the sky so that the lighting on Link's face is optimal for me to then take that screenshot from the game to then cut out Link and put him into the thumbnail. Because I'm noticing drastically and it's like this in Legends Arceus, all the cutscenes that are at night are unusable as a thumbnail because the character's too dark. And I'm like trying to get that perfect position where, okay, if I've got this flame particle effect on this side of the thumbnail, then light is traveling that way. And it's like, that's what I'm thinking about right now. I love it. Do
you think with Legends Arceus, is it Arceus or Arceus?
That is a point of debate, but I say Arc.
I've always said Arceus, but I've now noticed you saying Arceus. So
Well, Arceus... My understanding is that Arceus makes more sense because it's like an archangel. It's like that's where the wording comes from.
Okay.
But like I think in official canon they've said both, and so you could just pick what you want.
Anyway, do you think that there's a world in which if thumbnails taken at night look bad, take the photo at night of the background, take the same photo in the day of the same background with a character, and then cut the character out and put it against the dark background so that you've got the character as lit from the day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could do that.
Is that not something people are doing? Or?
Yeah, I mean, but not for... I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that in terms of thumbnails right now. And to me, it's like I'm specializing in something ultra niche here. Like, there's not that many other people out there who have a use for this. You know, I'm thinking about the sort of photography in video game, kind of like machinima aspect of a specific series of games that like no one's thinking about that, you know. And people for thumbnails, I think generally people really underestimate how important thumbnails are, or they don't take the time to think about it with YouTube. And I'm becoming convinced that like it's almost more important to have a good title and thumbnail than an actual video, which is nuts. Like title, thumbnail, intro, and title, those are the three elements that I need to constantly get better at because they're always changing, but I think they're the most important elements of a video.
Title, thumbnail, and intro. By intro, you mean like the first 30 seconds?
Yeah, first 10 seconds, really. For those first 10 seconds, they need to be right, and I don't even know if I'm doing them right. I'm just like, I'm doing the best I can, and then watching back a video and going, is that working for me?
But then don't you need the next 10 seconds to also be good, and then the next 10 seconds to also
Sure. I think people make a decision, because, like, not many people watch a YouTube video and just go, like sit there with it in front, not doing anything else.
No.
Most people, I mean, certainly my experience is it's on another screen, or I'm playing a game, or I'm doing the washing up, or cooking food, or whatever. You need about 10 seconds to just convince people to put their phone down, leave it on play, you know, and then they can get back to whatever other task they're doing. Very few videos, I think, unless you're able to produce it, again, at the level that Mr. Beast does, you're not able to produce content that makes people actually want to, like, okay, everyone shut up, we're watching this video now. It's not a lot of videos work like that.
Do you think... So Netflix isn't like that.
Yeah.
Right? But do you think there's a world in which YouTube and Netflix become more similar to each other in that respect? Where YouTube becomes more of a, no, I need to sit down and watch this? Or Netflix becomes more of a, no, I'm going to watch this passively?
I don't think it's a case that, like, one's going to go one way and one's going to go the other. I just think it's a case that they're both going to have content that works well for either.
What about TikTok? because I wouldn't say TikTok is a passive watch at all. And yet the type of content that comes from TikTok you'd think would be more of a passive watch, right? But you have to physically actively be scrolling.
TikTok defies conventions because when you engage in that piece of content, let's say it's 30 seconds, you can't do other stuff in TikTok.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's what I mean.
You just can't. It has to be, and yet retention, my brain retaining a TikTok. I've watched thousands of TikToks. I couldn't tell you really about more than like 3 or 4 of them. Isn't that wild? And yet I gave it 100% of my attention. I don't know. Why is that? Why is that?
It's quite concerning, actually.
Yeah. It's literally just do, you know?
Yeah. I guess you just...
Scary.
It's the kind of thing you watch in bed and you're just sort of, your brain's sort of not really switched on, right?
Yeah. But that's not to say that, like, there isn't really spectacular TikTok content out there or that it's, like, not incredibly interesting. It is. It just doesn't... It's like it satisfies the, ooh, this is really cool element, but doesn't, for some reason, like, just doesn't stick. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like, TikTok...
What do you think? I mean, what do you think about the Netflix, YouTube?
Well, I think that TikTok is probably just the most powerful platform nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, it's... And I hate that I've only just now started sort of looking at it in a serious way.
Sure.
But I think that's also just a sign of learning over time, is that, like, you hopefully learn, like, you come to realize trends faster as you get more experience in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, like, TikTok to me has always just been this annoying thing that people become addicted to, and I want to try and avoid becoming addicted to it, really, because it doesn't look very healthy.
Yeah.
For years now. I remember, like, there was that whole thing where it's like, is Trump going to ban TikTok? And I kind of remember at the time thinking, oh, I hope so everyone just shuts up about it. But, like, as time's gone on, obviously it's become this powerhouse in media. Yeah. And I wish that I'd taken it seriously sooner, honestly.
I remember being told back in sort of 2015, 16, no, 17, I was told by my friends, you need to get on this Musical.ly. Musical.ly became TikTok. You need to get on Musical.ly. It's super easy to grow right now. There's so much incentive for, you know, they're trying to onboard everyone, and they really were. They were trying to get everyone on board with it. You know, I'm verified on the platform. A lot of people aren't, because I happened to make an account back then, and I went, yeah, you know, give it a go. And I didn't really put any energy into it. Just sort of made my account, put it under my usual name. I did make some original content. It just wasn't particularly well produced or exciting. Realistically, I guess I could have pushed it and it could have been something quite huge. But at the time, I think I remember feeling like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. If these things are getting a couple hundred views, couple thousand views, which for any platform starting out is a really good thing. But, like, so I guess my thing was, so what? And right. I sort of feel that right now to an extent. Like, last year, Jamal, who will be on the podcast very soon, he helped grow my TikTok and helped grow your TikTok. And he got my TikTok to 20,000 followers, which was huge, just re-uploading YouTube content. And then he said, so do you want me to keep going for another month? And we did. And I grew another about 1,000 followers. And then he said, okay, and another month. And I went, no, actually. Because to me, the difference between having 20,000 followers on TikTok and 100,000 followers on TikTok is, so what? Still, I have the platform, but so what, you know?
Yeah. Well,
at the moment, maybe I'm missing an opportunity here.
I mean, didn't they just recently announce or recently start accepting videos up to 10 minutes long?
So what? They did, yes. That's what, maybe.
If TikTok is suddenly taking on YouTube and winning, then that's the so what, I guess.
There's sort of no reason as well for me to not be uploading. Do you know what? Jamal mentioned this the other day, and it went over my head. I didn't even think and digest that information.
I think it was in the Devon Nash video.
10 minutes long.
Yeah.
There's a number of my YouTube videos that are 10 minutes long. The issue is, of course, is that the format is incorrect. And I don't know how... However, I've previously been against reformatting a lot of my YouTube videos into TikTok content because it's meant to be experienced in long form. It doesn't make sense for it to be like there are snippets here and there, but they're not that many. But actually, if the point is someone's going to sit and watch a 9-minute video, a 10-minute video, I should be I should be re-uploading that stuff. I should talk to Jamal.
Yeah. It's really interesting. TikTok, I mean, we've talked about TikTok several times in this podcast, and it's super interesting. And I think one of the best things about TikTok, and one of the reasons so many people have been using it to grow, is that it is so easy to make high quality stuff on TikTok because all of the tools are in the editor. Yeah. I haven't really fiddled with it that much, but the fact that there's a you press this button and it's automatic green screen behind you.
Yeah.
Or you've got like text that shakes, and you've got like, it's super easy. Like you don't need to do anything difficult. I've been watching so I was on this show last week. Streamers Decide by Rossi, cool Twitch streamer, very cool idea for a show.
Yeah.
And I made some friends on it, and I've tried to keep up with what some of the people are doing. One of the girls on the show, the Pizza Waffle, she's a big TikToker. She's got I think 1 million followers on TikTok. So I was checking out her. Now I don't use TikTok really, but I was I'll check her out, see what she does. And I did find myself sitting there just going through all of her TikToks, watching them. Crazy addictive, and it's nothing like spectacular. Like I'm not trying to diminish.
Wow.
I'm not trying to diminish what she's done.
Ooh.
What I mean is that there's nothing like spectacularly difficult there. It's her. It's her being like just being very engaging.
Yep.
Being very what's the word? Being quite cute. Yeah. And just sort of endearing.
Okay, personable and yeah.
And with a good looking shot, like she looks good in it, her background looks good in it.
Sure.
But there's nothing like, and there's pink text that's always the same sort of font, same color, same style, shakes a little bit. And it just looks good. It's just good, easy to consume content. And she's not done anything like crazy
like
in terms of
yeah.
But I guess I would argue that the groundbreaking part, or the creative part, is coming up with the concept and coming up with the formula in the first place, rather than the execution of the content. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think there's when it comes to groundbreaking content, oh my goodness, like Freddie Wong's videos have explosions, and they have portals, and they have cool special effects stuff. And then we were kind of talking about this on the last podcast with Mike. As those tools become more accessible, everyone's got explosions, everyone's got portals, everyone's got this. So the groundbreaking part is, how do I utilize those in a way that is either new or fresh, or just lines up with your identity really well, and my brain just fell over on itself there, and just work. Yeah.
He's got COVID, chat.
That's the excuse. My brain just completely flatlined.
Though you're testing negative now, and I'm still not. I'm not happy about it.
I'm a bit brain foggy.
Yeah, clearly.
We were going to look back at some point to how we spent our weeks, and I wanted to.
Well, yeah, like I said, I spent mine in bed. You've spent yours playing Yugioh for God knows what reason.
Okay. Okay. So, I've told you before, and I'm sort of doing this more for the listeners' benefit. I don't like getting ill, but when I get ill, I like that it becomes an opportunity to change the way that I'm working for a week. So normally it's like, here's my excessively long to-do list of tasks that ultimately the world wouldn't end if I don't finish them this week, but why not finish them this week? Because the week is upon us and I need to get stuff done, and that's how I operate. And suddenly I get ill and I go, oh, I guess clear my schedule apart from the absolutely most important things. I have a very open week. Okay. Well, I feel rubbish, so I guess I will play some video games, and I get to spend some time. Like this week I spent probably about 2 hours playing Resident Evil, and then playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and then playing
2 hours playing Yu-Gi-Oh, huh?
Yeah, actually probably just in terms of Master Duel, yeah. And then 2 hours playing Last of Us, probably a bit longer than that actually, probably more like 4, but and then watching a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, and then watching some Birdman, the movie, and then and just kind of jumping between these things in this way that I otherwise just would not give myself time to do, because it sounds like a complete waste of time. And then, going into my office and playing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards and like, getting them out and making decks. And I'm just having a moment right now.
Look, I can't
Okay.
judge because I have spent a lot of my time in the last week watching something I would absolutely never have usually looked at watching at all. I don't know if you've heard about this. I watched season 2 of Love is Blind on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what Love is Blind is?
I assume blind dates.
So I've been told about this before, and I've been sort of like, what? That sounds so stupid. Okay, so the concept of Love is Blind is there's 15 guys and 15 girls, and they go on dates, but they go into these pods where they can't see the person they're dating.
Okay.
So they're just sort of talking through a microphone into the next room. They go on all these dates, and the first 2 or 3 episodes is sort of like showing some of these dates, but it only really focuses on like 6 of the guys and 6 of the girls who end up as a couple. But the catch of the show is that at the end of the dates in the pod, they have to, if they want to pursue a relationship, they have to get down on one knee and propose to the person before they've seen them. And then there's like this big reveal where it's like, okay, it's time to, I'm meeting my partner now.
Oh,
and then the doors open and they go up to each
clips
other.
of that.
And it's like, and then they just have to go on holiday together, and then they have to move in together, and then like a month after the whole process started, they're meant to get married. And there's this moment where it's like they're at the altar, and it's like, now you make your decision. Do you or don't you? And some of the couples do end up getting married, and some of the couples don't end up getting married.
People actually get married, like legally.
Yeah, legally married on the show. And then there was the reunion, which was like months later, where all of the guys come back together, and the married couples are still married and still together, and like in coordinated uniforms and stuff.
If it works, it works. Like, great.
But I've been watching that.
That's fine. Like, but the thing is,
I was watching it at like 3 a.m. because I just couldn't sleep, because I've been sleeping all day, and it was like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, but
look,
my brain's not working. What am I? Oh, watch this trash.
No
okay?
one's gonna judge you for watching something that's like bringing you some joy and some pleasure and whatever.
I don't know if it goes as far as joy.
Okay,
I did get quite gripped on it though.
I think the reason you judge me for Yu-Gi-Oh is because I actively whine about it all the time, and then I'm there playing with the cards and like buying cards and watching the show, and you're just like, it's like I'm going on a date with someone that I hate repeatedly. And then coming back.
Whoa. Phoebe watches this, Like, come on.
I'm going on, and I'm, constantly complaining. And then you're like, are you going to see her again? And I'm like, yeah, she's nice. That's like me in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I think the reason I'm so surprised that you're still so into Yu-Gi-Oh is just because I think there are a lot of better options out there.
Yeah, so I do not think that for a second that I'm sure that if I took the time to get invested in Hearthstone, I'd prefer Hearthstone to Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh as a franchise though is hardwired into my brain because it's like, it's just it's the same as Pokemon. Like It just got me at that right age. I'm interested. There's a feeling that is involved with playing Yu-Gi-Oh where it's, my back's up against the wall and I've summoned my boss monster, and we've had those games, and it's like it's chasing that feeling, and there's a frustration that whenever I go to play the card game as it is now, that it's not the experience that I want back in my day, and I can't really, I complain about it, and then, lots of people go, oh yeah, I agree, and then lots of people go, oh, you sound like such a Gen 1er Pokemon. Fair enough, they're probably really enjoying the game and having those experiences now. So, but I'm almost more interested in or obsessed, it seems, with trying to make Yu-Gi-Oh just work and give me those nostalgic feelings, as opposed to trying something new.
Right.
Which, in theory, I should just try something new because I'm sure I'd find a lot of joy in it. But
you will do what you will do. I will say, when you're ill, probably not the time to try something new.
Yeah, that's true.
If your brain's not working properly.
I don't know why Hearthstone didn't hit for me. I think a big part of it is as well the characters of the card game. Is mechanically a better card game is a better card game. For me, it doesn't. I'm interested in Yu-Gi-Oh because I like the characters on the cards. I'm interested in Pokemon because I like the characters on the cards.
See, that's fascinating.
And that's where I know we differ.
To me, it's kind of like, why even bother playing the game then? Like, if you're not playing the game for the game...
It's just another way of playing with those characters.
Yeah, I just find that really odd.
I know. It's just a fundamental, I think, difference. But I understand that that's where I'm coming from. Even though there are probably half a dozen card games out there that the gameplay is just better, more satisfying.
Nowadays,
yeah. Like when I'm even down to like Slay the Spire, which is the solo card game.
Good.
So much fun. The card game is satisfying, which really, really helps. But also, I like the characters. I like choosing this character because they're this character and not so much that character because they're just a random sword guy.
Sure.
And there's something about that. I think a game really requires that first. And for Hearthstone, there was an element to that. Like, I definitely had, I preferred the mages. I thought they were really cool.
What got me about Hearthstone in that respect isn't even so much the World of Warcraft nostalgia, although there was a tiny bit of that. It's more the fact that every single card is, fully voice acted and everything. To me, it's really cool. It's the polish that the game had that's wow, okay, that's what gripped me in the first place.
Yeah.
This is back in 2013. And it still stands up today. That's the crazy part. Now, I don't want to sit here and compliment Hearthstone all day. It's got its problems, and Blizzard has its problems. Although I've got some good friends that still work there who are great. But I just I think there's a lot of alternatives to Yu-Gi-Oh, and maybe someday you'll...
I think we had my friend Josh was over a couple weeks ago, and we were just playing with I said, this is ridiculous, we keep on looking at the modern meta and trying to work out what we're going to play. I've got this box of old cards that are the kind of things we would have played with in, 2010. And it's, his Chaos Sorcerer and Magician of Black Chaos, Dark Magician and Blue Eyes and Karibo. I said, here's a big box, set a timer, 4 minutes, go, pick up as much as you can, let's make a deck. And we just made decks with these generic anime cards, and we had Duel. And it wasn't the fastest game in the world, but it was fun. It was really fun to see those things. And, when my opponent goes, here's Blue Eyes White Dragon, it's like, oh, this is cool. I know what that means. I wish it wasn't Blue Eyes every time. I wish that, there are other older boss monsters. And I like that feeling of, playing against someone and they've just summoned or played a creature, and we both know that, we're in trouble unless I sort of find a magical way out of this, and then having that clutch way out of it, which realistically modern day Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't do that. Right. For me, it plays differently.
It's just about jamming as many monsters onto the board in the first turn as you possibly can.
Yeah, right? Yu-Gi-Oh at the moment is very much how many cards can I have out that allow me to negate the activation of my opponent's cards, so that when it comes to turn 2 and it's their turn, they just can't play anything. And so as a result, in response to that, you need to have hand traps which negate what the opponent does before, and actually you're playing so much of the game before you hit the board.
I actually think the biggest thing that modern card games do, that I was going to say Magic, but no, even Magic didn't have this. I think the biggest thing that Hearthstone did first, that a lot of modern card games have adopted, that just improves it drastically, is it takes away the ability for you to interact on your opponent's turn. Your opponent's turn is their turn.
I like that.
You cannot interact. You just sit and you watch. And then they end their turn, and then it's your turn. For me, one of the things that puts me off playing the Yu-Gi-Oh games nowadays, it's you do something and then you have to wait for your opponent to decide whether they want to respond. And then you do something again, and you have to wait for your opponent to respond. And that's just over and over and over again.
I agree. And there was a time where that was a novelty. I feel like it was really rare that there would be a card that there was always trap cards that you could activate at any time. And that was the point of calling them traps. You can activate them on your opponent's turn. That's really wild. And that's what makes them, that's the sort of powerful side of them. And then it was a real novelty where I was okay, I'm going to attack you. And then you're here's Tragodia, this monster that I can summon from my hand in your turn. Yeah. It's whoa.
Effect Veiler, is that
As a result of... And here's where Yu-Gi-Oh's gone wrong. Power creep is in every card game. And for a lot of card games, that looks like the attack and defense power getting a lot stronger. Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't do that. 3,000 attack is still 3,000 attack. It's still a respectable amount, and it's really, really strong. As a result, the effects have to become more elaborate. They have to become more ridiculous and elaborate and exciting. And because Yu-Gi-Oh's pool of cards is the entire history of the card game. Pokemon does rotations. You can only use the last 4 or 5 sets. Hearthstone has seasons of play, right? Where it limits the pools of cards. The power creep in terms of effects is actually so much worse than the power creep in terms of just attack and defense strength. With Pokemon, the HP has gone up very, very slowly, but all of the other cards in the format that you're playing with are relative to that, so it actually just doesn't matter, you know?
I think that the taking away the ability to interact on your opponent's turn, and also just simplifying what a turn is. So like Yu-Gi-Oh, you've got your, what is it? Hang on, let me try and get this right in my head. It's been a while.
Okay.
Is it standby phase,
Yep.
draw phase, main phase 1, battle phase, main phase 2, end phase?
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
6 phases in a turn of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Main phase 1 is everything you do before you battle. Battle phase is you attacking, and then main phase 2 is everything you do after the. But like again, in a more modern game like Hearthstone, it's like your turn is your turn. You start your turn with drawing a card, then you do whatever you want. You can attack, then you can play a different creature, then you can attack with this creature, then you can cast a spell, then you can attack with this creature in any order you want, and it doesn't matter because your opponent can't interact with you anyway. So it doesn't like it just removes a lot of the complication of who's allowed to do what and
that's
when.
not to say, because I think there might be people who would hear that and go, ugh, yeah, but like, gosh, that sounds so simple. Maybe it's too boring. I don't know. It's not that card games can't be more complicated, but the fact that every single card can be interacted with by any card from the history of the card game through multiple phases, it's far too much to be
it's not
friendly.
It's not that there's not traps, there's secrets, but secrets activate automatically. You don't choose when they activate. As soon as the criteria is met, it just triggers and does its thing.
Right.
So there's no waiting for your opponent to decide if they want to do this, if they don't want to do this.
Something else I really like about Hearthstone and Pokemon that Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't do is limited resource. Yeah. You've got mana. Yeah. You gain 1 mana each turn, and I love that it also starts slow and builds up, and you can use your mana pool per turn.
Yeah, with Pokemon,
it's 1 energy a turn. Yeah. You don't get more than that. Yu-Gi-Oh, there is no limitation.
Yeah.
Other than really the cards, but every card game has that. You draw your cards, and there is no limitation.
Well, there's a limitation to normal summons, right?
Right,
you get
but
one.
No one does that. People don't know. I mean, okay. Of course, you use your normal summon in the turn, but nothing's built around that. Everything's built around special summoning. Gosh, if bringing a monster out from the extra deck was a normal summon, that would literally just change the game so drastically. But the fact that there's no limitation on special summoning, it's too much.
They could literally...
It's overwhelming.
They could literally take mana from games like Hearthstone and Magic, etc. Oh, with Magic, it's not even mana. It's actually you have to play a card to gain the mana. It's a little bit like Pokemon.
Oh, that's right. You got your land, yeah.
Land, yeah, that's right. But they can literally in Yu-Gi-Oh make it so that on your first turn you're allowed 1 special summon. On your second turn you're allowed up to 2 special summons. On your third turn you're allowed up to 3 special. They could literally build the game like that, and then
and people will argue that would make the game slow, which I'd argue is a good thing, because I've never had more fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh than with you.
The long drawn out games.
The long drawn out games where it's your turn, I'm getting beat, my back's up against the wall, I've got 1 draw, and and I make it count, and I turn the tide of the game. Somehow this right combination of cards allows me to wipe your board, leaves me with 1 monster, I'm in advantage, I have board control. You draw a card, it gives you back that board control. And we do that, and we do sort of maybe 6 or 7 turns back and forth, just chipping away at each other, dealing with each other's resources until the last person is standing with the best deck built. That's so much fun. I love it.
With all of that being said, I haven't played regular standard constructed Hearthstone in about 2 years. I only play Hearthstone Battlegrounds now, which is a totally different type of game. In my opinion, it's better, sure. At least at the moment, but for many reasons, including it's free. You don't need to own any cards because it's all sort of packed in as part of it, and B, I just think the gameplay is more interesting nowadays.
Do you think you'd enjoy the Pokemon card game?
Yeah, maybe. I don't see why not.
I think I genuinely think it's a good card game.
I just don't really have any real reason to want to play it.
Sure.
Because again with Hearthstone, whether I was playing constructed or Battlegrounds, there's this rating system, there's all the leaderboards online. it's a game that I've still got friends that play it.
Yeah,
a lot of friends and people that have played it. I can jump in, I can try to climb up the ranks and that kind of thing. Whereas I don't know that if Pokemon released a game that was the same quality as the Yu-Gi-Oh game that just came out, I'd probably give it a go.
They've just updated, finally, TCGO. It's now Pokemon Live. Or it might be coming up, actually. I'm not really sure when it's happened. I think it's happened. Yeah. And I mean, TCGO certainly was not the quality of Hearthstone. It's not the quality. It doesn't have the polish that Master Duel has.
Funnily enough, it's one of the reasons I got into Hearthstone, because when I was going through the whole Yu-Gi-Oh phase of where I was addicted to that when I was younger, I was playing Dueling Network or Dueling Book or whatever it was all the time. And then I tried out Pokemon. It was like, it felt so dreadful to play. And then I discovered Hearthstone. It's like, oh my God, this is like a proper AAA title.
Yeah.
And it's, it's the same. The game is the right quality. The visuals and the sound is, oh my God, this is like one of the best games I've played.
I do like that Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! You have physical cards. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that element. Hearthstone's so smart though, in that like the ability to summon one mech and it's like a random mech in the game. It just chooses one for you. Those kinds of effects.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a real card game. And I've always thought that's really fantastic.
Especially the discover mechanic, which is one of the things that they introduced like in maybe the second or third year of Hearthstone that's stuck and become like something that's in pretty much every deck. Well, discover is where it will say discover a mech, for example. And it will give you the choice between 3 completely at random. And you choose one.
Yes.
But there's so many. There's discover a 1-cost spell, discover a shaman spell, discover a just any discover a choose one spell. Like any of these things. And the thing that people love about discover is that it removes a little bit of the RNG. There's still RNG, but it's about making the best of it and choosing the best one for the current situation. And it's one of the again RNG in games. A lot of people think, as soon as you add any element of RNG, it's like, it just takes away from... But again, Hearthstone Battlegrounds is pretty much just RNG. But a lot of people say it's even more skill dependent than regular Hearthstone because it's about learning the game well enough to know which is the best decision at all times.
Yeah, it really depends. It depends on what you're playing. Like, I've my friend Joe, he'd say, Smash Bros. All items on. And you go, what? And you go, well, it's random, and being good is about how you deal with those random situations. There's
good RNG and there's bad RNG, right? Like even in Hearthstone, I mean, an example of RNG that was considered quite bad early on was like Mad Bomber, which you play it and then it deals 1 damage at random to 3 characters. Could be your own hero, could be enemy hero, could be your own minions, could be the enemy minions. Like that's kind of bad RNG because anything that you play in it like completely determine the outcome of the game immediately without anyone having any input. It's those small random decisions where it's like, if I play this, I could get this card that wins me the game. If I don't play this, I'm screwed. So
and that's kind of the thing. Like I think there are some items in Smash Bros, like say the Smash Ball, which it drops on the field and people have to fight over it, and that makes sense. But when it's just like have a hammer. And it's it fell on your side.
Pokeballs and assist trophies are the worst.
Yeah, Pokeballs. Which obviously when you're young, they're really exciting.
I loved it back in the day.
I don't not enjoy seeing those things, and I'm always up for a game of Smash where it's like, okay, all items on, all items high, whatever, fine, or a big Pokemon battle, whatever. That's fun for 5 to 10 minutes. But like, if we're actually talking about a game that you would want to spend thousands of hours playing and hundreds of hours playing and rank up and get good in. You want it would be frustrating. It's just frustrating.
It's the difference between something that would say like this item in Smash is basically flip a coin. If heads, you win the game. If tails, your opponent wins the game. That's obviously bad RNG.
Yes. but I think that's that's it.
Yeah.
That's where it meets.
But that's that ended up being a bit of a tangent because what I wanted to talk about was your work-life balance.
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Ended up being a nice little escapism for me, and it's not that I haven't worked over the last 5 days. I've actually worked on a fair amount of things, but just in being ill, it forces me to clear the calendar, push it back a week. What are we doing this week? Okay, well, nothing. You're resting. I get to do these things I wouldn't otherwise get to do. And then eventually what happens is I've played 5 hours of games that I'm not really like invested in any of them, and I plod along to the office. Oh, okay, well, I'll make some thumbnails, or I'll script something, or whatever. And so I still get I get work done that would need to get done anyway. A little bit less of it, but just because I know this isn't permanent, it's like, okay, this is my week. I think I've probably got another day left in me of this kind of working, and
I think
it refreshes me.
You said in the Instagram thing that it's unhealthy and something that you think you need to deal with, the sort of work-life balance thing. And I realized that may have just been a close friends thing. Sorry if that was...
It was, but it's okay.
But that's I figure
right.
it's worth...
No, yeah, I mean, I think I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I think it can be unhealthy, yeah.
From my perspective, the only time I think that it's sometimes bad from you is if, like, you're, like, socializing with people in an evening, and then it's like 10 p.m. or whatever, and you're right, I need to get off and go do some work. And it's like, no, you don't. It's 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
That's the... But
what's that got to do with anything?
Other than that,
yeah,
I don't think that you're too bad for it. Like, you do find time to chill and enjoy doing stuff that you want to do.
I do. I think I'm constantly aware of the to-do list. Mm-hmm. Because it's how I've managed to find success is through having a to-do list on my phone. I'm always going to and referring to, like, multiple times a day. This is what I should be doing now. This is what I've got coming up. This is what's going to be happening tomorrow. And being able to just stay on top of literally any task that comes into my brain. Do the bins. Do the washing up. Do the, these things that need to get done. And it allows me to do that. This week has been blissful because I've said, there doesn't matter. There is no to-do list. Not really. There's like one thing every day or two things every day, but there's really, it doesn't matter. None of these things matter. And I definitely couldn't live my whole life like that. But the issue is that, yes, I find time to relax, but it's scheduled. It's part of the to-do list. Right. It's got hold of me. And I think where I struggle is, like, we have a house now. Everything's okay. There's nothing that needs addressing immediately. We've got time to hang out. We've got time to do stuff, to play games. Phoebe's here. Relationships are good. Friendships are good. Everything's okay. So I want to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy the, and be in the moment and be present in the moment. It's like you say, when I'm online and I'm like, it's like 10 p.m. and it's like, we could be hanging with friends. And it's like, is this a productive use of my time? Stop it. I need to be in the moment. Just chill out. Yeah. It's okay.
But that's, again, from my perspective, that's the only, at least from what I've noticed, I think that's the only time where it seems like your work-life balance is a little bit skew. Because, I mean, it's something I've worked on. I've been through lots of different phases in sort of my work life. In that when I was at uni, it was non-stop. I was at uni and then I was streaming in the evening and I never had any social time to do anything. Yeah. Then I started casting, and the casting started to get successful and I stopped streaming. And at that point, my work-life balance flipped, where it's like I spent a lot of time just doing nothing, just like chilling, playing video games and not worrying too much about it, because I knew it's like, next week I'm going to be in Poland or in whatever country, excuse me, and I'm going to be working really hard. So this time is chill. And that was probably one of my favorite things about when I was working full-time as a caster and host. Yeah. It's that, like, I had scheduled work time and scheduled not work time, and it was super easy for me to stay on top of that. Obviously, when I was at home, I had to do prep work, but, like, that wasn't like this constant thing. Like I was able to sort of work as I pleased. Then I started streaming again in 2020, and I went very full on again. I was working pretty much constantly, and the same in early 2021 with the Among Us blow up. I started working constantly, and now I'm since I reckon about mid 2021, I've been making more of a concerted effort to not do that. I don't want to work right now. I'm chilling. That's fine. The problem with that for me, although I can be really proud and smug about the fact that I feel like my work-life balance is a little bit better, is that it's not working. It's the everything the stream has fallen apart. Sure. The casting work stopped. And it's like, what does that reinforce in my head other than you shouldn't be allowing yourself time to chill. You should be and then I run the risk of falling back into that trap and just descending into madness as I keep trying to sort of patch up holes and fix things.
It's hard. This is the thing about being self-employed, isn't it? This is the trade-off is you don't get security. You don't get money security, and you don't get a boss telling you, well done, you did a good job, and this is your job for the day. Yeah. What you do get is complete freedom to do what you want to do. Yeah. And that's the trade. I think for me, it's less the... Because I think you're right. Like I have enough time in the day where I'm chilling out, but it's the mentality of the great to-do list is there in my head. And it's been both the thing of my success, but also it's a point of frustration that, well done, you've worked really hard and you've got all of these lovely things. You can't really enjoy any of it, though, because you've got more to do. And it's like being aware of that is something that's the thing I need to tackle. It's really my relationship to the way that I work.
Is there a way you can just cut down the to-do list a little bit? Just schedule fewer things in a week?
But why would I? Because I have X amount of hours in a day. That's the thinking. Like, why would I? I've got X amount of hours in a day. Why not just do that today if I can do it today?
But that's the thinking that you accept is not good, right?
But
it's not healthy, I guess.
It's not maybe not healthy.
Not good.
But it's also like been responsible for me. Everything's going well right now. Like, so everything's going well, so why would I mess with the methodology that makes everything go well?
Sure.
It's difficult. It's like, what do you do with that? I don't know. And I mean, in terms of you, I don't know. I don't know what you do. I
think the one thing I don't want to do is descend into that madness of I need to work constantly to try.
Yeah, because it's not how it's if like right now everything's going well, and so I feel rewarded and justified in that sort of madness. If I was in your position where you're feeling like everything's going wrong and it's not where it should be, you run the risk of ramming your head into a wall 1,000 times. Yeah. And do you know, Stephen Bridges once said something really interesting to me, which was you should focus. He said you should spend X amount of hours a week working and X amount of hours a week working out how to work. And I remember being like, that was really
okay. What does
big.
that mean then?
He was sort of implying that if something's not going right for you, and like, let's say it's the stream, and or maybe the podcast isn't going well, I don't know, and you could keep working at that thing 1,000%, but if it's not working, it's not working, and you're just like then ramming your head against the wall, you should take a little bit of time every week or every day to reassess that, yes, you should be spending all your hours working, but are you spending them in the kind of the correct way?
Yeah.
You know, could you be spending them, okay, maybe you need to be streaming less hours and making more content. Maybe you need to be scheduling in a break time. And maybe you need to be making content, but stop making it this way because you're wasting so much time by doing it this way. Actually, you could be doing it this way.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of get better at everything. Just spend time working out how to work.
That makes sense. You know? That makes sense. I mean, I've always liked the philosophy of work smart, not hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like as a streamer, you can't do that because you have to work the hours.
At the end of the day, you have to be live for those hours.
So you kind of have to work. Whereas again, as a caster, as a host, like I felt like I was working smart and not working hard. I was certainly earning more money doing that too. So like, and that's the kind of, I guess that's the sort of silver lining for me, and the reason I don't feel forced into, oh God, I got to work. I've got to keep working until things get right. I need to fix this. I need to fix it right now because I have got money behind me. You know? It's not like there's no like disaster looming over. You know, I'm not going to suddenly not be able to pay the mortgage. But it's stressful.
Yeah.
And I think content creation in general is very stressful. I want to watch Devin Nash's video that he just.
We'll watch it after this.
We just saw the thumbnail just before going live, which was what was where Twitch went wrong, or the downfall of Twitch or something. It's like, it looks like it's going to be a good one.
Do you know what's funny about this is I definitely remember a time at uni thinking, and even my first year or so doing YouTube, where I thought, wow, I'm really lucky that I get to be so lazy, and that I thought that like I don't work much, and it's weird to. There was a turning point. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, where I just went, man, I work long hours. I work really long hours, and this is really stressful. And I think so much of that came from the justification of like. First of all, there was like hustle culture is like totally a thing. Like hustle hard, get that bank, earn it, be an entrepreneur, do your thing. That's a huge thing, and like I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm almost mocking it as I'm saying it, but it's not. It's actually, again, it's proved well for me. It's done well. But there's also that element of I'm making videos about Pokemon on YouTube. I need to legitimize to everyone else in my life that what I am doing is work. And it's real and it means something and it's, and so you work so unnecessarily hard and you get it to this place. And now it's like, great, I got this. Now the biggest thing I need to do is learn to enjoy it and like be present in moments.
I just glanced. I'm not often going to respond to things that I see in the chat during the live show of the podcast, but I glanced at chat and saw something I do think is relevant to the conversation. Which is growth as a streamer happens outside of the platform, which is objectively true in most cases. But that's not what I experienced last year. Because last year, my growth was all just due to the Among Us lobbies, and I was literally streaming all day, every day, and my numbers were going up and up and up and up because of all the collaborations I was doing, etc. I'm not saying that that's normal, and I'm not saying that that's the case for most people, but I grew from, averaging 50 viewers to averaging 600 in that time just by being live, just through collaborations. And nothing else led to those numbers. But then the reverse growth happened.
Yeah.
And
it's just called loss.
Yeah, well,
shrinkage.
The shrinkage happened. And I do think that being live more hours does actually reduce that shrinkage. I do think that like if I had continued to put so many hours in, I don't. But
there would have to be hours in doing the same thing.
Yeah, or similar.
To establish what you've grown. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's difficult. I think growth on platform is very much the exception, not the rule. And you grew as a result of those exceptions.
Yes.
And it's almost like a totally separate audience to the audience you would be trying to grow.
Harris Heller did a video today,
which
I watched, which was really interesting. Alpha Gaming or Senpai Gaming, whatever he calls himself at the moment, where he was talking about the two ways to grow on Twitch. He was like, okay, the obvious way, the way I've talked about in every video I've ever made, the way Devin Nash talks about in all of his videos, everyone else, you grow on Twitch by growing a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like obvious step one to growing
Twitch.
Or
other platforms.
Right? Or other platforms, yeah. But then he said that the second technique, and his argument in this video that he released today was that will take you to, for a lot of people, that will take you to between 1 and 200 concurrent viewers on Twitch, and then sort of won't take you higher than that.
Okay.
Because what you need to then get past that, he called this the advanced strategy to growing on Twitch, is having a skill. Is having a skill that people specifically need to watch you for. Because, as he said in this video, people are fickle. People will want to watch you do what they're enjoying watching you do, but then maybe they're not in the mood to watch that specific thing this day, or maybe you do something different. They won't want to watch you anymore. Boom, there go your viewers. Yes, this is exactly what I've experienced. That's sort of what you've experienced to a degree when you released your Zelda content.
Yeah.
It didn't do anywhere near as well as the other stuff. People are fickle. Everyone listening to this podcast, I'm calling you fickle right now. Sorry. So what do you do to stop that? Well, you develop a skill, or you have some sort of skill that people respect you for, and people actually want to watch you for, want to watch you as a creator, not what you're doing, not specifically you doing what you're doing, but want to watch you as a creator for. See, I was kind of wrong in that I assumed or hoped, I guess, that because Among Us was such a personality-based game, I thought maybe me growing as an Among Us streamer would mean I'm growing as everything, because people are there for my personality. So when I do something else, I'm still the same person. I'm still the same personality. They'll still want to watch. I was wrong. Personality and entertainment isn't enough. There needs to be something that you do that you're one of the best at that other people can't do. And that is what grows you past that point. That's the argument he was making today.
I think that's fair. And it scares me because I think, cool, when I want to start doing things that aren't Pokemon theories, like...
What's your skill?
What's my skill? What am I bringing to the table?
What sticks you? Well, maybe that's the next thing to work on.
Yeah, The fact is, I call myself Birdkeeper Toby. I've got me on the front of the content to try and build that relationship. But at the end of the day, like, only X amount of people are going to care. Like, there are the percentage of the audience that care about me, Toby, probably the people who watch this podcast, to be honest, is a much smaller sliver of people than the vast majority of people that watch my videos.
What's interesting is that... Sorry.
Though I'm also okay with that, because they're watching videos about Pokemon. Pokemon's going to keep going forever. I'm going to keep on enjoying making videos about Pokemon. So I'm happy to have that little corner of the internet.
But what's I think interesting, and I don't know how the numbers are now. I haven't checked recently, but I found it interesting that your house tour video got more views than your Zelda video. Is that still the case?
Yes, I think that is the case, and that is interesting, especially because, in my opinion, the thumbnail's far worse for the house tour.
Well, I
hadn't thought about that.
Well, I have a theory.
Okay.
About why that may be, and that is, okay. So you've got the people that want to watch Birdkeeper Toby talking about Pokemon, which is your entire audience. Yeah. Say that's everyone, 100% of the pie chart.
Yeah.
Then you've got, or the Venn diagram, I guess. I don't know. Then you've got the people that want to watch Birdkeeper Toby talking about Zelda.
Okay.
So anyone that is a Birdkeeper Toby fan that doesn't care about Zelda even remotely, they're not going to click on it, right? Because why do they, even though they like you as a YouTuber...
Why would they? They don't care about Zelda.
If they don't care about Zelda or Tingle or don't even know who Tingle is, like, they don't want to watch you talking about it.
Sure.
So they don't click on that video.
Cool, yeah.
So that turns off everyone that doesn't like Zelda. But then the house tour video... Well, sure, that turns off everyone that only wants to watch Birdkeeper Toby talking about Pokemon.
But it doesn't deny anyone.
It's very general.
Yeah.
Anyone could enjoy that. Anyone could be like... Anyone that likes you, not just for Pokemon, but just likes you.
That's true.
They can enjoy you talking about how you just bought a house and this is the tour and this is that. So
people enjoy me. Thank you.
But what I'm saying is that, like, maybe a way of looking at it is that Zelda, because it's such a specific topic, much in the same way that for me Halo is such a specific topic, and a lot of people, even if they like me, they don't want to watch me talk about play Halo. People don't want to watch you. People that don't want to watch you talking about Zelda is because, although they like you, they've just got no interest whatsoever.
What we're saying is, like, if I wanted to become a vlogger and introduce vlogs to Birdkeeper Toby,
that would be easier.
Easier than Zelda.
I think so.
Or perhaps even Pokemon cards, which is something I struggle with. It's just too different a topic.
Yeah, I think so.
But, like, if I was vlogging about my life, but then isn't that sort of...
It's the reason my Just Chatting streams tend to do better than when I play games nowadays.
So maybe I'm getting confused here, but isn't that, like, isn't knowing about Zelda the skill? But vlogging, it wouldn't be, in theory, if I'm just talking about, like, my life and updates and that kind of thing.
Well, the skill with vlogging would be, I guess, being entertaining and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although, as I've said, that doesn't seem to be enough of a skill. Talking about knowing about Zelda, sure, that is a skill, but it appeals to a very specific audience, and I guess you'd have to be consistent to build up that audience if you wanted to do that.
I'm gonna keep going with those.
But
try them.
But it's all I'm saying is that I can see why maybe
that makes sense.
Hasn't appealed to your viewers as much as the house tour has, because, like, I mean, I watched the Zelda video more to support you than anything, because if I'm honest, I didn't really care about Tingle or the stuff you were talking about, if I'm being honest.
That's fair. No, okay, bye.
And again, the only reason I haven't watched the Arceus videos is because I haven't played the game yet, and you said there's spoilers. But, like, the house tour video I freaking loved. I really loved that video. I loved it so much I watched it twice and also showed my parents because I thought they'd be interested because it's house tour and that kind of thing. So I really liked that.
I should really send it to Mum. I actually haven't.
If you haven't shown, you know you should.
I haven't.
But that's just a theory. A
game theory. I mean, that makes complete sense to me, and that works. It's interesting because the house tour video I felt very frustrated with in the making it, because it was so out of the realm of what I'm comfortable making, and in terms of, like, light, camera setup, there are shots in it that I think actively look bad, and I'm just like, ugh, that looks awful. Why didn't I take more time? Why didn't I put more into it? But I suppose lots of people aren't really thinking about that too much when they're watching it. Maybe that's more of a... I don't know.
Yeah, I
Definitely
mean,
could
it's
have
the
been
kind
better,
of thing that you're going to notice more. And of course, I noticed the lighting wasn't great. But then again, more people will have noticed the lighting wasn't great because you actively talked in the video about how the lighting wasn't great. Which feels like the right thing to do, to be like, look, guys, yeah, I do know about this. I've noticed it. It's not great, and I apologize. But I guess the negative effect of that is that you're pointing it out to people that maybe wouldn't have noticed otherwise. It's like how I was watching a YouTube video by Sam, who used to be Harris Heller's editor, because he's got his own YouTube channel, Sam Woodhull. And his video was he was taking a bunch of YouTube videos and re-editing them in a way that he says would make them better. And there was one video where this guy started the video with being, "Hey everyone, what's going on? Sorry guys, I know I haven't uploaded in quite some time. It's because of this and this and this." Just get rid of all of it. Firstly, no one cares. Secondly, all you're doing is pointing out that you've not uploaded it, and that might put people off more.
This is something that applied to drama. I don't know if this was general drama or if this is. We did a stand-up comedy unit at uni, and they were saying like, the audience is ready to forgive you. They want the audience wants to have a good time, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to apologize and point out things that they already know you're sorry for. Like, you're gonna make a mistake. They've already had to sit through the mistake. Don't now apologize about the mistake, because now they're going to sit through that as well.
Yeah.
You know.
But then again, it depends on the kind of creator you are, because a lot of.
Ooh. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a very. We've got a very promiscuous setup here.
Apologies, I just tapped it with my toe.
Going to work on that. But it depends on the type of creator, right? Yeah. Because a smaller, newer creator would likely make mistakes like that and have bad lighting, etc., and not know about it. So like they don't know that you're sorry for that if they don't necessarily know that you know what you're doing. I would say that probably, if I made a video and the lighting was bad, and I'd probably know about it, and people would probably know that I'd know about it because they've seen the majority of what I do, where hopefully nowadays things tend to look pretty good on my content, hopefully. And same for you, but like for a lot of people.
That was something that in one of Harris Heller's videos came up, where he was saying, I've been getting comments lately about my microphone and why it sounds like I'm underwater or something. And I was like, what? You sound fine. I was really confused, but I suppose because his audience are used to listening to him talk through different microphones and talk about different microphones and the quality of microphones, it was just, I guess they were more likely to pick up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I just found that found it interesting that, because I was confused at first as to why your house tour video did better than the Zelda video. In my head, it's like personal update.
Honestly, hadn't even occurred to me, but now you've said it. That's really interesting.
But yeah, again, I guess it's the Venn diagram, right? People that want to watch Birdkeeper Toby talk about Pokemon, that's everyone. People that want to watch Birdkeeper Toby talking about life in general and himself, and that's everyone, minus everyone that doesn't really care about you, just cares about Pokemon. But still, a lot of your audience will fit into that category. And then there's people that want to watch Birdkeeper Toby talking about Zelda, and then of those people, there'll be some people that there'll be a lot of people that aren't already Birdkeeper Toby fans, because obviously they're Pokemon, and there'll be a lot of Zelda fans that don't know you yet that will eventually fill that category. But there's also only the people that very specifically like Birdkeeper Toby and like Zelda, which I guess isn't the majority of Pokemon fans.
Yes, it's true. What I found interesting though is with the Zelda videos.
Sorry, just to add, doesn't like Zelda enough to care about theories, because you could enjoy playing the games enough, like I have. Like I'm a very casual Zelda fan. I don't really care about Zelda theories.
No, sure.
And so people like me, I guess, wouldn't even fit into that category.
This is where I think the Zelda theories have advantage over Pokemon cards, weirdly enough, because I think I'm already seeing more success with the Zelda video than I did with Pokemon cards. And I think Pokemon theories are at the core of what I do, the storytelling, the lore, that kind of thing. And with Zelda, it's the same content, but with Pokemon cards, even though it's the same franchise, it's drastically different content. And I think it's like a closer jump to go from Pokemon theories to Zelda theories than it is from Pokemon theories to Pokemon cards. Which I just also find interesting. But yeah.
I mean, the same, we were having a conversation about my own YouTube channel a few days ago where you were saying that you think I should be doing more general gaming news stuff, gaming opinions and gaming topics. And I've been thinking about that and thinking, I mean, that would appeal to my already curated audience more than me specifically just talking about Halo all day every day, which is why I've sort of relegated that to a second channel that is still secret but bubbling away in the background. But if I was to do a video that was, for example, would you like Elden Ring? Here's why. Here's why not.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I played Triangle Strategy last night. Why I think Triangle Strategy is the most beautiful video game I've seen all year.
Yeah.
If I was to make more general content like that, I think more of my already established audience that have been watching me play Among Us would be interested in clicking on them occasionally.
Yes.
Does that make
sense?
sense?
Yes, I think so. And I think that the audience that you would build over making those general videos, I don't think you could make everyone video game related, but like you could definitely use new releases to like draw people in, and then your other videos you're talking about Twitch.
Let's face it, everyone's clicking on Elden Ring videos at the moment.
Yeah,
not everyone. Okay, I've said everyone.
No,
sweeping generalization, but a lot of people are.
Yeah,
it's the most popular game we've had in quite some time.
I think definitely like you would then be building that audience. Whereas the idea with doing Halo content was to build a Halo audience who would be interested in watching you play Halo on stream.
I still like the idea of that. That would still be fun. I would still love to be able to stream my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
At the same time, being realistic, not that I think it would be easy to grow with more variety. Obviously, variety is very difficult, but I would certainly rather be in the spot where I can feel like I can make what I want to make.
Yeah.
Different genres and different whatever, rather than just boxed in again to a different franchise.
Sure.
I've been boxed into Hearthstone, then I was boxed into to Brawl Stars, then I was boxed into Among Us last year. I feel like even if I could do it, boxing myself into Halo is not like progress in the right direction.
Yeah, I think you learning that about yourself was like really important as well, because I feel like I have been giving you advice based on you just do what I do. I do Pokemon. Because I'm happy to be boxed into Pokemon. I'll do Pokemon. And then you do Zelda, you do Halo. And, because that's your favorite game and that's what you love. And then I feel like the advice was kind of in pursuit of that. But actually, if you wouldn't be happy...
Right now I would be. The thing is, right now I would be. Even though the game hasn't had any real updates, I would be happy because there will be updates.
Yeah.
And I still love playing it. I really, really do. Right now I would be happy.
Yeah.
I can't say from the bottom of my heart that if I was doing Halo, so if I was to manage to successfully grow a Halo, which is still a big if, there would have to be a lot of work and a lot of progress in that direction. But I can't say from the bottom of my heart, in a world where I was able to be successful with that, I cannot guarantee that in 2 years I wouldn't be sick of it. And that's what scares me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like I've never had that worry about Pokemon. I've always found ways to enjoy the franchise, and to be honest, I think even if I came to hate the franchise, which I don't know how that would happen, I could definitely make content on that. But
it doesn't matter how much I've loved something in the past. I've loved Hearthstone, and to be fair, I was doing Hearthstone full time for about 5 years.
Yeah,
I got sick of it. I loved Brawl Stars when I first started hosting it and casting it and playing it. I was playing it all day, every day. I loved Among Us at first. I could not wait to get out of bed and play Among Us every morning.
Yeah.
And eventually I burned out and got sick of it. And I can't guarantee the same thing wouldn't happen to Halo.
Well, in that case, that's totally fair.
So in ideal worlds, I'd love to be able to sort of just be a little bit more varied. But I also don't know what content I'd make and I feel like I've learned a lot over the last few years. I feel like I would have more clickable thumbnails and titles, and I feel like I would be cleverer with being more choosy with the type of content I make to make the content that's more likely to be clicked on, and I'd work on the intro to make sure people are watching more than the first 10 seconds, etc., etc. I feel like I'll do better at it now than I would have done a year ago or 2 years ago.
You're just worried about what's the
but
concept.
I have no idea what I'd be making.
I've always felt that the things that you talk about, like here on the podcast, the things that we talk about, like literally day to day, I think you have really interesting and good takes on the streaming space, the video game space, and I do think news would really suit you. I think what you just said about Triangle Strategy, like you've got an opinion about how it's like maybe the most beautiful thing, or even if you just frame it as this is what Pokemon's getting wrong. I played Triangle Strategy and it should be pixel art and it should look like it, or whatever the thing is.
That's a good take.
Yeah, I think you could be doing that time and time again. No, Pokemon look good now. Have you seen the Gen 9 trailer? Survivor has scales. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
That's good. I would still love to see, and I've been saying this for years now, I would love to see a Pokemon game that actually used that art style, the sort of Octopath.
I'd be up for it. Honestly, it was only last year I was thinking sprites. They need to go back. They need to go back to sprites. They need to go back. And that
doesn't have to be the main
series
franchise. It could be a side game. I'd love to see a Pokemon game where they imagine a
heavily stylized.
Imagine a 2D side-scrolling Pokemon game where you've got the Pokemon battles and I don't know.
No, I do think that could be really, really cool. They could do anything on it, honestly, and
it'd probably be cheaper too for them to make.
Probably,
I don't know,
probably.
Oh
man,
good art styles are just the answer. Good art styles. I don't really care about graphics anymore. Graphics are whatever. Don't get me wrong. There are games where the graphics are utterly stunning, like The Last of Us Part 2, like Horizon Forbidden West, etc. Where it's okay, this game is stunning to look at. But
so gorgeous. We played Ratchet and Clank
for the first time the other day.
Pixar movie. It's a Pixar movie.
Yeah, it's not again, graphically, it's not it doesn't look real.
Yeah,
it's a video game. It doesn't need to look real. Yeah. But it's just gorgeous to look at.
I was
all
looking
the
at the
effects and everything. It's so
in The Last of Us Part 2, the guitar scene, the Take On Me scene, and it's this is gorgeous. This is stunning cinema. But I also my favorite. I think possibly my favorite video game ever is Zelda Wind Waker, and it looks. It's not even up to scratch with modern stuff,
but it's got a great art style.
It looks so wonderful. I was just getting footage, like I was saying, for it, and I was in Ganon's Tower at the end of the game, and I'm just looking around at the design of the building, and I'm like, this is gorgeous. Yeah. It just looks. This is a game that's been around since the nostalgia helps.
Zelda games have always been quite good at that though, because again, there's the
not Skyward Sword, but yeah.
Is it Link's Awakening or Link to the Past? I always get them confused.
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening on the Switch looks fantastic.
It was one of the best looking Switch games ever.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't end up finishing
it.
Fine. I got kind of bored of it.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty understandable. Honestly, it's fine as Zelda games goes, but the art style is and the look of it is top tier.
Yeah.
Shame about the frame rates, but it's top tier.
Yeah.
It's my goodness, and I think Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was trying to do that, but just sort of not doing it quite as well. And missing a couple of hits where Zelda got it.
I've also just as you mentioned frame rate. Again, conversation's gonna get a tiny bit nerdier. For a few seconds. I have been obsessed with ever since I got this PC with 3090 in it. I've been obsessed with playing everything in the highest resolution that I can.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. A few days ago, I switched. I was playing some Halo Infinite, and I decided to switch away from my 4K monitor to Asus one, which has a higher frame rate. And I lowered the resolution from 4K, which is what I've always been playing Halo Infinite on. I lowered it down to literally 1080p.
Okay.
I did not notice a difference to the visuals whatsoever at all.
Okay.
But the game felt suddenly so fluid. It felt like I told you earlier I'd been popping off in Halo recently. It's not random. It felt like I had been having a weighted training vest on, and I took the training vest off.
Oh my god.
Suddenly everything is just reacting faster and everything is just right. And it's kind of annoyed me to an extent because again, with the freaking 3090 in my PC, I feel like I should be handling anything and it should be perfect. But doubling my frame rate from 60 frames per second up to 120, wow. And just everything is just so much snappier and more responsive. It's like, oh, I'm now good at Halo. And I wasn't before.
I had that even with the Miles Morales game, Spider-Man. Because they've got the
high fidelity.
All the frame rates. And
I would always choose the frame rate one for that.
The first time I played it, I did high fidelity. And you were like, you want the frame rates? And I was like, oh, but it looks so gorgeous. New York in the snow. It's so cinematic. It's lovely. After finishing the game, I swapped over to high frame rate. And I was like, I should have been doing this the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think with especially if you're playing on a large screen, I think when you first play it, you want to just sort of experience what
It matters a lot less, and actually there is an argument to be made for the cinematic feel of that.
But with video games, I've just come to accept, it is the most important thing. The single most important thing is that it feels good.
Yeah.
And again, the frustrating part for me is I said I didn't notice a difference in the visuals. That's a lie. Occasionally, if there's a building in the distance with like a sign on it. And it's like, oh, that looks like a bit of a pixelated mess now compared to before.
Right.
But like,
how much does that matter?
But compared to how much better I feel at the game now, it's like, oh, why didn't I do this months ago?
Yeah. Sorry, I keep yawning them.
So I've sort of let go of my need to now try and play everything in sort of like 4K. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to try and it also means that I'm going to be recording footage in low resolution. I still like recording, especially myself, in high resolutions if I'm doing a video.
Sure.
I still want to record myself in 4K because I don't really see a downside to that.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm less responsive.
Yeah. Because you're in 1080. You suffered.
and even if I don't want to release the video in 4K, I still see an advantage to recording it because then I can do zoom ins and not lose any quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as gameplay goes, I think I finally sort of let go of that. And I tell you, chat, and anyone listening, 120 frames, so much better than 60. Like, it's in an FPS. Like, it's so much better.
See, the passion you're talking about this with, this is a video.
Well, yeah. Maybe.
And there's so many of today's topics. I think if you watch back this podcast, you would find 5 things that you have an opinion on, that you're passionate about, that you're interested in, and that each of them is like a, 8-minute video that can hit double monetization.
So the skill that I have, if I was to say that I have a skill, the reason that I wanted to start this podcast is because hosting. I've been, again, I was doing it professionally as an esports host and a caster, etc. I think that I'm quite good at leading conversations, that kind of thing. But that's difficult to convert that skill, quote unquote skill. I don't even know if it is a skill. I guess it's a skill. It's difficult to convert that into, into content, into views, especially when your guest is literally falling asleep.
Listen, I'm feeling a little run down, and I was thinking, maybe
fix your camera.
Well, I was gonna say, maybe is it time to move on to a sort of post-show type situation, as I'm feeling quite run down, and I feel like we've got a lot of mileage out of this.
What time?
Podcast already.
I don't even know what
I haven't made a time, but time's definitely flown by. Where are we at?
No, we've only been live for about 15 minutes.
It's now 8:40.
It's 20 to 9?
Yeah, 20 to 9.
What the heck?
Yeah, we've been going for it.
Wow.
I think that's a podcast.
Well, that was me worried that just the two of us would have nothing to talk about.
We had loads to talk about.
I mean, the thing is, we talk all the time, but I guess my fear is that, like, as soon as we're on camera and in front, we're like, what do we? No, not that. But what do we talk about that we haven't already talked about amongst ourselves, which is going to be sort of stale if we talk about it.
We just like hearing ourselves talk. It's honestly fine.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, there you go. I guess that was the COVID House podcast. I hope that you've enjoyed. I never did any housekeeping at the start of the show. Obviously, there was no skit or trailer this week because, frankly, we've not been well enough to make one. Vikram was supposed to be on today. He will be on at some point. We just need to reschedule him. But next week, it is going to be Jamal, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes, that'll be Jamal.
Who is, again, a bit of an expert when it comes to TikTok and Shorts. So it'll be fun to... I feel like we talk about TikTok a lot.
We do. We need to have TikTokers on.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Pizza Waffle I was talking about earlier, maybe. Next week, the funny thing about next week is that we have a little games night on Friday.
Mm.
And Jamal is one of quite a few people coming to it. And I feel like there'll be quite a few people there that would be up for coming on the podcast.
Right, but we can't do all of the podcasts in 1 week.
Wouldn't it be funny if every 20 minutes we kicked the guest off and had a different
one on? That's a waste. We'll just do 8 podcasts back to back.
We could genuinely do 2, but no, we're into the post show. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, obviously, if you're watching live on Twitch, thank you. We'll do the post show in a second, so don't go anywhere. If you're not watching live on Twitch, why not? We're live 7 p.m. every Saturday, even when we've got coronavirus, apparently.
Even when.
So there's that. If you want to support us elsewhere, the podcast will be up on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I guess it's called, Spotify, and all of the other podcasting apps by Monday, hopefully, and it will also be up on my YouTube channel on Monday, so give it a watch on YouTube, let it play, give it a like, give it a download on any of the podcasting apps. It takes you a couple seconds, and that counts as a full listen, so that always helps. But yeah, for now, that is, I think, all of the housekeeping stuff I need to do. Toby, where can these wonderful people find you?
You can find me, as always,
not
on screen, but on Birdkeeper Toby on all the social platforms. That's it. There's no plug.
That's it.
You're all good.
You want to give anyone a shout out? You're basically 2 guests today.
Ooh! I would like to give a shout out to your secret Halo channel that no one will be able to find as a result of the shout out, but it's out there.
It's definitely possible, but I don't want people to unless they're going to consistently watch the videos. So, all right. Why is Toby's butt saying oops? Well, we'll answer that in the post show. But for now, thank you for watching. And we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.